in arms.
Okay. Naseer Hussain.
No, let me answer. This is very
I'm coming to you, Rakesh. Naseer Hussain, I want to ask you one point that is being made by the government.
Let me answer because Raghav Chadda is going from the show, so let me answer before he goes. You know, all over the world, American Senate, British House of Lords and House of Commons, in Canada, there is a process, the procedure that if a speaker says or chair says that these words are unparliamentary or these words should not be reported or this language should not be reported or this part should not be reported, media does not report. It is not a new thing. Even during Nehruvian regime and then Rajiv Gandhi regime, speakers have ruling that these should not be reported in the media. And the Delhi government speaker, when he said that these things should not be reported in media, this is not a gag. This is a parliamentary process. The chair is a final authority. This is the final. You don't know. This is the final. Even if there is a BJP government tomorrow, there will be a Congress government, there will be a communist government, there will be a socialist government. The speaker's role is undiluted. So kindly don't question the role of the chair and speaker. This is I don't know whether you know or doesn't know the parliamentary procedure. The media understands this. This is not a gag order on the media. Things which should not be reported when the speaker or chair passes a ruling, it is not reported. All over the world, not only in India.
Okay. Naseer Hussain, the point that is also being made here is that in a number of states which are ruled by the Congress party, be it Punjab, Rajasthan and others, a number of these words have been expunged. So you don't have to speak about it being expunged in Parliament.
Maria, I think Mr. Rakesh Sinha was also mentioning about the speaker's ruling during Rajiv Gandhi's times and Narasimha Rao's times and Indira Gandhi's time. He should understand all these words were not banned by the speakers during those times. Now, the whole debate is about the banning of the words. Whole debate is about making certain words unparliamentary, which are used in our day-to-day life and which are used to describe the functioning and the incompetence and misgovernance of the government and certain leaders. So why are they so scared about these words being used against the government when they themselves are used? This is point number one. Again, Mr. Rakesh Sinha was mentioning about breaking of mics and disruptions and other things. I would just again like to remind him, the way we have reminded in n number of times on your television channels, that it was not the Congress or the opposition leaders now who said this or made this statement. It was the late Sushma Swaraj and late Arun Jaitley who said that disruption is the right of the opposition. So now, instead of debating on what has to be banned and what need not be banned, he is resorting to something else which is not we are debating today. No, the fact remains that this government is scared about the opposition. The fact remains that the government, as it has suppressed the right of expression and right of speech of everyone else, including the journalists in this country, now they want even the parliamentarians not to speak at will and not to speak what they actually want to speak, and then stand up with a book where they have which words are banned and not banned, and look into the book and then keep speaking. This is what he's trying to explain. We all know we are not illiterate people. We all know that the speaker's ruling has to be adhered to in the House. But the point is, what is the ruling and what are the kind of words that he has chose to ban?
Okay. I'm going to give the final words to Rakesh Sinha, but before that, let me bring in Priyanka Chaturvedi. Priyanka Chaturvedi, what was your reaction when you first heard about this list? Will you be now doing more of that tightrope walk that MPs are expected to do with their words?
No, I am not going to be watchful. What you see is what you get. I speak on the basis of what I want to ask of this government, to hold the government accountable. For using words like harpage, hypocrisy, etc., I cannot, even my school teacher wouldn't have asked me to stop using these words, but the parliament expects me to do now. Having said that, you'd be surprised to note that we haven't got this handbook yet. You'd be also surprised to note, which I had maintained even when I was suspended during the winter session, that what was that one thing that you all thought was unparliamentary and for you all to suspend me for an entire session? I still don't have an answer to that. So you are just basically unilaterally taking decisions on the basis of leaked footage, leaked CCTV footage, and you're, in your head, something that has happened which is incorrect, and you're suspending people, you're gagging people, you're silencing the opposition. This is extremely a wrong trajectory to take, and will only continue to hamper our democracy and the constitution as we know it, where constitution clearly says where you have a government in power, you also have an opposition which holds these people accountable to power.
Okay. What will be the joint opposition strategy? Because the monsoon session begins on 18th. Will the opposition be perhaps going with a thesaurus, looking at synonyms now? Because we saw the Lok Sabha speaker talk about a long list of unparliamentary words.
No, we just, I oppose this tooth and nail that you cannot bring in daily use words as unparliamentary. I remember once in the budget session when I stood up to speak, I said a word like misappropriation. Nirmala Sitharaman ji had such a problem that she wanted it expunged. When I called this a jhuti sarkar, they wanted it expunged. So they continue to do this, but you can't cow down to this kind of dictatorial. Again, dictatorial also has now become an unparliamentary word. But we will have to oppose this tooth and nail and expect the government to take in the opposition. Even if you come up with a handbook like this, you have to have extensive consultation. You just cannot thrust these ideas into people's minds and into the parliament and say that this is from now onwards, whatever you speak or say is unparliamentary.
Okay.
It's unfortunate and we will fight this.
Rakesh Sinha, फिर बहस कैसे होगी? अगर सब चीज सारे वर्ड्स अनपार्लियामेंट्री डिक्लेयर हो जाएंगे तो फिर बहस कैसे होगी पार्लियामेंट में?
बहस होगी. मैं जो what I want to say that parliamentary democracy survives not by the through a structure, parliament building or the electoral process. It survives when the debate is not polemical. You see, over the decades, the debate is increasingly becoming polemical, and polemical debate is always dangerous. That produces demagogues, and demagogues, when parliament is full of demagogues. I am not criticizing only talking about the Indian parliament. I am general talking. When the parliament is full of demagogues, then it is detrimental for the parliamentary democracy. That is our collective effort, that parliamentary discourse should be based on facts, figures. You criticize government as much you can criticize the government. I should criticize the opposition as much as I can, without targeting the individual, without using the filthy language. That is the beauty of parliament. And that it is our collective responsibility to restore the beauty. And last word, that these words have been expunged in few sessions. These are the list of the words expunged. That does not mean that using all the terms have been banned. This is wrong perception, or you are trying to create a manufactured dissent in the country, which you have been doing since 2014. You dislike Narendra Modi ji, you dislike Narendra Modi ji, but that does not mean that you will destroy the parliamentary democracy. And breaking the mic and jumping on the speaker's chairman's chair is not a parliamentary democracy.
All right.
And parliamentary democracy is not threatened by the bullets, also threatened by the boli,
right.
by your speeches.
Thank you
Sometimes
so much for joining us,
speeches becomes more dangerous than the bullets.
Naseer Hussain, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Raghav Chadda and Sushmita Dev.